My name is Robert Atkins. I've been working on G.I. Joe since 2007. All of the unique properties of the 80s, I mean, G.I. Joe, Transformers, Thundercats, He-Man, all that, Ninja Turtles, everything, got me into storytelling and character. Just how unique the characters were, I just absolutely loved. And then the fantastic worlds you could get into. As soon as I was able to start working professionally, the very first job I had was a fill-in issue of Snake Eyes Declassified. So that was my very first job, was telling Snake Eyes' origin. I was like, are you kidding me? You know what I mean? So I just geeked out. I loved it. And then the first solid 6 years of my career was almost entirely G.I. Joe stuff. So I just loved it. I got in touch with the fan base and recollected all the toys I had as a kid and just really dived into it. I got into it through the cartoon, just age-wise. That's what got me into it first. And then the toys. And then I didn't even know there was a comic until years later, after it had been published for quite a while. So I read it, I was like, whoa, this is way more serious than the cartoon ever was, so that was an interesting kind of introduction to the comic scene and other artists that had worked on the property. Since I started working on it professionally, I definitely used all the old 80s uniforms and character designs and vehicles, and that was always my springboard. I never wanted to deviate too far from that, but I had to modernize it. I mean, there was plenty of dreadnoughts with the mid-drift mesh 80s shirts that nobody wants to see, you know what I mean? That does not fly in today's modern fashion era for bikers, you know what I mean? That's not what you want to wear. So there was times where I had to update it, but I really tried to keep it true to that original design as much as possible. And it was just kind of modernizing it to make it practical. So I got the chance to draw the program book for the expo this year. I was really excited to do it. And so basically I was just approached to draw kind of a classic Joe lineup with Emily Expo, right? As the main character here up front with a Joe version of her. So just front and center, and it was really fun to work on. I was excited about how it came out.
Hi, I'm Larry Hama, and I'm one of the creators of the G.I. Joe characters. They asked every single writer that Marvel had, and they all turned it down. So, and I was desperately trying to get writing work. They said, "Oh, you're an artist. You can't write. If artists started writing their own stuff, they'd be out of work." So, and they actually when they went through all the writers and they all turned it down, they went through all the editors and the assistant editors, and they went office to office, starting at one end of the building and all the way around. And my office was the last office, and so I took it. And everybody told me it was the kiss of death to write a toy book. You've got all these different figures, let's diversify them. I sort of jumped on that and tried to make all the characters equally important. The female characters, real sort of responsibility, and instead of girls in the X-Men universe always standing around with their palms nailed to their forehead and lamenting, or they took a lot of showers, But I've had a lot of women tell me that they read Joe because their brothers bought it, and they liked it because the female characters were treated exactly the same as the men characters, and they had the same responsibilities, and they were stand-up characters. Doesn't matter what you look like, doesn't matter if you've got a speech impediment. You can be Snake Eyes. So it's a matter of fantasy projection, a character like Thor is very specific.